everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and welcome once again to the Lonely and Solemn Comic Vault. Today, I'm reviewing another new issue. This came out just last week. This is Batman Arkham Knight #1. This is the prequel to the video game that just got moved back again. It's coming out in June now, and this is, I don't know how long this is going to be, but this is both the prequel and kind of a sequel to Arkham Unhinged, and it ties in a lot more with some stuff in Arkham Unhinged that I kind of expected. In fact, after the first couple of pages, I was kind of wondering if all that stuff happened in this, and if that was still considered canon with all of this. And then, all of a sudden, we start bringing in all of the aftermath with the Joker and his plans for after he died, and how his fingers kind of reach past the grave. And I realize that we're not only building on Arkham Unhinged, but that you're probably not going to appreciate this nearly as much unless you read the one-shot from, I guess, well over a year now that Derek Friedhoffs wrote. I'm pretty sure that was Friedhoff. That was this oversized issue that I thought was really good, except the ending was a little bit wonky. I wasn't sure I bought that Batman so easily survived the Joker's attempt on his life, and that's still handled exactly the same way here. And I'm getting ahead of myself, but in fact, the way Arkham Knight comes in and is involved, I thought maybe he would be part of an answer to how exactly Batman got through that, and it turns out it's still done exactly the same way as it was before, and that it doesn't really add anything retroactively, which to a degree I kind of appreciate. That it's not further complicated too much anyway, but at the same time it still is somewhat of a letdown from that particular issue. So anyway, this is setting up both the story stuff for Arkham Knight and thematically what that's going to be doing. And on the cover, it says the official prequel to the Arkham trilogy finale. So they are trying to treat this like it's a trilogy, despite the fact that we had Arkham Origins, but that being a prequel, forget that for a moment. We've got Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and then Arkham Knight, and that's supposed to kind of finish off the whole thing. And they're saying that they're not going to make any more Arkham games after this. I don't know if that means that we won't have any more Batman games made by Rocksteady or any more superhero DC stuff, and considering the enormous popularity of those, I'll be really surprised if Rocksteady doesn't do something else in this universe and dealing with DC stuff. But anyway, so what I thought was really kind of intriguing about this is it seems to be kind of setting itself up as the Dark Knight Rises for the Arkhamverse. I mean the game, but this establishing what that game seems to be or is probably going to be doing thematically. It's basically asking the question of, can Batman change, and does Bruce Wayne have to be Batman forever? Just like, not does he have to be the film Batman Forever, but does he always have to be Batman? And he and in this, just after the Joker is killed, Alfred is questioning whether or not Bruce Wayne should continue being Batman, and if he can't do more good for the city as Bruce Wayne. And it does seem to come out of nowhere a little bit, this conversation of, you've had too many of these long, crazy nights, and one of these days, one of your villains is gonna finish you off, and they're getting worse and worse all the time. Why don't you scale back Batman and bring in Bruce Wayne? After all, Bruce Wayne has all these amazing resources that you're not using in the daytime. He even comes out and says, hey Batman, what have you really accomplished? If you were to die tomorrow, and there's every possibility of that happening, what long-term effect, what long-term good have you done for Gotham? And Batman says, well, the streets are safer and Gotham needs me to do what I'm doing, but it's pretty clear that he's not sure how much he really believes that. And Frankly, I'm not sure how much I believe it either. I actually kind of question that this idea that Gotham has actually been safer lately, because yes, it was just one madman with Hugo Strange who was able to coerce the mayor to make Arkham City happen, but I don't think that that would have happened as easily if it weren't for all of the crime and the corruption and it ramping up and being more and more rampant. So I really kind of resist this idea that somehow the city is safer with Batman. It seems like the games have been all about this escalation, where no matter how hard Batman tries to set this example for Gotham, that he is still kind of part of the problem, and that it resists him constantly, and that he has helped to create really more problems than he solved. And then it always asks this question of whether or not Batman is as insane as his villains, and if he's really doing what he's doing for the right reasons, or if he's playing out some sort of a fantasy because of his obsession with his parents' death. And this comic is certainly calling those things into question still, but as I said, I just resist this idea that Batman is really creating a safer Gotham. And so even though that strikes me as a conversation that Batman and Alfred would have had probably when Arkham City was erected in the first place and not just after he left, I do really like this idea of asking the question of whether or not this is the right time for Batman to start allowing himself to be Bruce Wayne more and to let himself be changed. In both my Superhero Rewind for Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, I talked about this notion that the point of Batman stories is that Batman has plenty of opportunity for change and he never does change, and is that a good thing or a bad thing? And we're always constantly asking that question. My prediction is, having read this, is that by the end of Arkham Knight, Batman will finally have had a complete character arc where he has an opportunity for change and he takes it. And it'll be really interesting to see where that goes, but I kind of think we're going to have a big optimistic ending, and it'll be interesting to see if it's believable and if I buy it. But given that we've already killed off the Joker in this world, we've got that unprecedented thing that you usually can't do in Batman stories moving forward, it doesn't seem unreasonable at all that we might end this with the end of Batman also. After all, Batman and the Joker, especially in the Arkham continuity, have this relationship, this kind of symbiotic relationship where you really can't have one without the other. One is the barometer for the other. And so without the Joker, now that he's gone, maybe it's possible for Gotham to be a better place. But then, of course, there's this new villain, Arkham Knight, who is introduced here. We do get to see him. And, of course, we don't know who he is yet. That's going to be the big mystery for the game. But the idea is he's trying to establish himself as whoever he is, as Batman's new arch nemesis, and his whole his whole kind of gimmick is that two big things. The first is he doesn't fear Batman. He's not afraid of Batman, and so he can go up against him like no one else could. Arguably, the Joker wasn't afraid of Batman either, so it'll be really interesting to see how that idea plays in, and how different he'll be from the Joker as an arch nemesis. Obviously, he's a very different character, but I kind of like that idea that that's maybe the big thing that they sort of have in common together, arguably. And then the other thing is the Arkham Knight claims that the big thing he understands about Gotham and the dynamic with Batman that nobody else gets is that the villains don't matter, that they're just pawns. And it's like he can kind of see through the madness somehow, that he sees some kind of end game, that for Batman this is like this never-ending crusade, and Arkham Knight has some kind of this like sixth sense where he gets what's really going on. So obviously this is all kind of set up and planting stuff, and we don't have enough where I can really give a lot of a read on that. But bringing the Scarecrow back, which is also seated here, we see the Scarecrow for a minute, and also Penguin is looking for him. Clearly this is going to be another Batman story that really deals with the idea of fear and what you can do with fear and how it can be used as a manipulator, and then what happens when your whole thing is making people terrified of you, and then you go up against somebody who is not afraid of you at all. So anyway, overall, I think I liked this. Like I said, it doesn't stand alone. It's very supplemental material, not just because you really needed to have played Arkham City to have any idea what you're looking at here, really, but also because I think that one shot from a couple years back is really essential to get this. It's really weird reading this that there's nothing really with Batman about how he feels about the Joker's death, and because he seems almost saddened and nearly traumatized by it at the end of Arkham City, and then in that one shot, he's really, really solemn and weird about it, and it's almost like his life has collapsed around him. And I'm having a really hard time buying that I'm reading the same guy here that I read in that one shot. I actually kind of want to go back to that now and see if they line up at all, because I do think that Batman listens to Alfred maybe a little bit too easily in the whole notion that he needs to start focusing more on being Bruce Wayne and trying. And it's really interesting. I just thought of this. I brought up I brought up Dark Knight Rises, and that movie's got the same thing that this does, this idea of Bruce attempting to be Bruce Wayne and solve more problems that way. He doesn't have to be Batman anymore. In Dark Knight Rises, of course, it's because he can't be Batman anymore, really. And here, it's because Alfred says he's kind of paid his dues already. His parents would be proud of him. Isn't he? Wouldn't it be better for everyone if he finally forgot about what Alfred calls his naive 8-year-old promise and finally started enacting some lasting change? Of course, in The Dark Knight Rises, Bruce Wayne tries that with the energy machine and feels like he failed at that, and so when he gets the chance to become Batman, he becomes Batman again. And in this, we haven't really gotten the energy machine thing yet. He's just now attempting to try to solve some problems as Bruce Wayne. So it's going to be really interesting to see how all that works and pans out. I'm going to recommend this for folks that want an insight into what the game's going to be like and who are kind of curious to keep trying to predict who Arkham Knight is. You might pick up on some kind of nuance or clue to his identity that I didn't hear. I'm still very much in the dark. I think we can be pretty sure that it's not somehow the Joker. That's certainly a thing that a lot of people figured, because these games have always been about Batman and the Joker, that somehow or rather Arkham Knight would end up being the Joker. Interesting that he's already established, according to this, during Arkham City, because he just shows up right at the end of it. I mean, that's somewhat convenient. Maybe he couldn't get in for some reason, or he didn't want to. He was just watching from the outside. I'm not sure what's going on. But at the very beginning of this, when Batman leaves Arkham City, he immediately gets attacked by the new Electrocutioner, just so that Arkham Knight will have a villain to attack, and then give us this idea that the villains don't really matter. And again, that's all sort of convenient, and I can't help but think, God, Batman can't get a break. During that whole scene, I kept thinking about all the different people that, as Batman, I kept having to fight all the way through Arkham City, and I was like, geez, this would be the time he would collapse. He fights like the most D-list villain ever, and this is the this is his breaking point. He's just gone too far now, and it was hard not to think that that's what would really happen. As far as the identity of Arkham Knight, a lot of people are pointing to maybe Hush, and I really kind of don't think it's Hush, because it certainly doesn't seem to be his MO, but it does have to be somebody who's got an insight into Batman. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it certainly would make a lot of sense given what we're given here about Batman trying to do more as Bruce Wayne, somebody who has more of an insight into into Bruce Wayne. I mean, maybe the reason that he's not afraid of Batman is because he knows Batman better than anybody else does, because he already is aware of Batman's alter ego. Some people have said maybe it's going to be Azrael. I will be really surprised if it's either of those, just because I would figure that they would go for somebody that is kind of more well-known in the public. But then again, maybe not, and maybe it's just a brand new character. Who knows? Anyway, I'm interested to hear what other folks that read this think in the comments. And as I said, if you haven't read this yet, I think I think it's definitely worth reading, just to give you some insight into the game. I don't think it's quite as good as some of Arkham Unhinged, although that was somewhat of a hit-or-miss book, and I didn't like it very much at all toward the end. This is, I didn't even tell you who wrote this. Goodness, this is Peter Tomasi with art by Victor Bogdanovic. I'm sorry, I'm botching that. Bogdanovic. I don't know his art. It's competent. It's pretty good. It looks a lot like what the Arkham Unhinged books looked like. And anyway, it's your standard Tomasi Batman writing. Some of the dialogue is a little bit clunky, but for the most part, it works. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Sure appreciate it, folks, and I will review something for you once again very shortly. Also, let me mention, if you don't know about it yet, that I have a couple of cool, fun things for sale right now. You can get my documentary about comic book stores across the Midwest, the Midwestern Panels. This is $10 with 2 full hours of special features on the second disc. Go to Geekvolution.com, go to the Buy Stuff section. Yes, we're very subtle on Geekvolution.com, and you can also get, separately or at the same time, Comics to Screen, the 2015 exam. This is my trivia book about I'll say about comic book stores. That would be an odd trivia book. This is my trivia book about comic book movies, starting with everything that came out last year, and then a bunch of quizzes about everything going all the way back. 601 questions, just $5. And anyway, thanks again for watching. Sure appreciate it. If you ever want to send me or Vince anything to review on the Comic Vault, our P.O. Box is right here. And thanks again for watching. I'm Captain Logan, and happy reading.